Welcome to Event Horizon. I walk into the paranormal with a splash of the conspiracy. I'm Mark Anthony Peterson and I'm your host. We got a new intro and you guys deserve it. Because if you've stuck in there with me to this point, I think you and I are vibing on the same thing. Today's show is another walk down that path, that paranormal path with that twist of conspiracy. Because I think all the billionaires on this planet want to be Egyptian or Greek gods. No, they don't want to just walk around with their shirts open, ripped like Jeff Bezos. The guy does look pretty good for his age. No, I'm talking about they want to live forever. The title of today's show is The Fountain of Youth. All hail the new Egyptian and Greek gods. All the billionaires want to live forever. Jeff Bezos, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, Larry Ellison. All these guys are spending hundreds of millions of dollars in order to find the fountain of youth. Perhaps they were inspired by the 1986 movie, The Highlander, my personal favorite. Who cannot like Connor MacLeod? Connor MacLeod, there can be only one. Or perhaps they were inspired by the lyrics from that hit 80s TV show, Fame. I'm gonna make it to heaven, light up the sky like a flame. Fame, I'm gonna live forever. Baby, remember my name. Remember, 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 remember. Who could not remember the lyrics to that show? Maybe that got stuck in their heads when they were kids and they figured if they ever made $1 billion, they were going to find the fountain of youth. I know you think I'm crazy. These guys wouldn't spend that kind of money when you got guys like Bill Gates saying, let's donate all our fortunes before we die and give it to charity and do good on the planet. No. These guys are investing their fortunes in living forever. In 2016, Jeff Bezos invested over $100 million in a company called Unity Biotechnology through his personal investment firm, Bezos Expeditions. Unity Biotechnology specifically tackles the problem of aging by developing medicines that potentially halt, slow, or reverse age-related diseases, while also restoring human health. They do this by removing certain senescent cells from the body that cause these diseases. Now, outside of Bezos' investment, Unity Biotechnology has raised another $127 million towards this effort. And Peter Thiel, you know the guy from PayPal, he contacted a company called Ambrosia, a California-based company that's running clinical trials to see whether blood transfusions can stop the aging process. Now, that doesn't sound too quirky, does it? No, let's go another level deeper and see what they're actually doing. The trial that they're running takes blood from people under the age of 35 and gives it to people over the age of 35 to see if the younger blood actually restores the health of people over the age of 35. Guys, that's straight out of the fairy tales, straight out of the comic books. We're talking about vampires and Walt Disney combined into real life technology. where people are taking the blood of young people and giving it to the elderly to return them to a younger state. You're going to start to see this theme, and you're seeing this through a lot of the shows that I've posted. The blood. The blood. The blood is such a powerful conduit for life, an eternal life that is wrapped throughout all of the world's religions. There's a sacrament every Sunday in the Catholic Church that centers around the blood and giving those who follow the deities associated with that religion eternal life. Larry Ellison. For you young people who don't know about the OGs of technology, Larry Ellison is the co-founder of Oracle. This guy was a beast in his day. And when I say a beast, he went and ordered a Soviet fighter jet that he was going to fly personally, and they still had the missiles attached to it. The U.S. government had to meet him on the runway to take those missiles off. This guy lives on the edge, and he wants to keep doing stuff like that because he's rich. So he has spent more than $430 million of his own money to research immortality. He's founded a foundation, of course, named after himself, Ellison Medical Foundation, which is dedicated to the biomedical research on aging, including the hormone DHEA, which can slow the aging process. $500 million. Now, if you owned everything, including a Soviet fighter jet, I'd want to stick around forever to play with those toys too. And don't think the guys at Google are going to be left out. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, those guys are coming at this from every direction. They already own 23andMe. And in a previous episode, you know what I think of that company and what they're trying to do. They're trying to use that database to not only find Jesus, but maybe they're going to eventually use that database to find the DNA markers that are going to help them live forever. They've launched another company called Calico, short for California Life Company. And they've invested $1 billion into anti-aging research. Google may get beat to that punch by a company called Human Longevity, founded by Elad Gil, and they're compiling a 1 million-person DNA database, and the clinical information that they're pulling from that database is designed to find the ways to extend healthy human lifespan. So they're looking for Jesus in their database so that they can figure out how to clone that, apply that to your DNA structure, and help you live forever. Human Longevity has raised over $300 million from investors, including General Electric and Celgen. Guys, why would General Electric and their venture arm be investing in something like this? Because they see it as the next greatest profit center on the planet. They don't plan to give this stuff away. This is not a development for the masses. This is going to be the ultimate drug for the elites that they will spend billions to have. And GE wants to be one of those pushers selling it to these guys. Eternal life. The ultimate profit center. Especially if that elixir requires a annual maintenance to it, as it probably will, that they would continue to pay through the nose for. The second reason why these guys are probably investing is that some of these guys are getting close. Many people speculate that already they're capable, with what exists today, of extending the average human lifespan by 50 years. Living to the age of 150. Now, imagine what that would do if everybody lived to that age. We're already at 7 billion people. It would force some serious dynamic changes to governments, to food production, to smart cities. All of the trends and fads that you see coming may be a direct result of some of the tech that's getting close to breaking through and changing our everyday paradigm. Buck Institute. These guys are experimenting with the drug that is used to help you successfully get an organ transplant. Rapamycin. They found that that drug also has some anti-aging benefits. When they applied rapamycin to the hearts of aging mice, it restored that heart function to its earlier, younger state. They believe this drug can extend lifespans for up to 14%. You see, it's not just about living longer. You want to live healthier as well. You want to restore those bodily functions to their earlier, younger state and be able to enjoy all the toys and all the lifestyle that you enjoyed when you were 20, 25, 30 years old. That's why the GEs are getting in on this, because they know extending life comes with another cocktail to maintain your health. A cocktail that you're going to pay and pay and pay. Peter Diamandis and Dr. Bob Harris founded Cellularity, which focuses on stem cells. Yeah, these guys are going to take stem cells to regenerate organ tissue and restore aging bodies. Now, this tech is not new. You remember the first Superman, Christopher Reeves, who had the accident that basically made him a quadriplegic. They debated whether or not using stem cells could help regenerate his nerves and restore his ability to walk. Well, that's what these guys are trying to do. They want to use a stem cell repair kit to restore organ and organ function. And Russian billionaire, Dmitry Azakov, he founded the 2045 initiative as an effort to focus people's energies on uploading your consciousness into a robot. Yeah. He wants to achieve immortality by fusing the human consciousness with a machine that will last well beyond the typical human lifespan. Now, Dmitry doesn't know that he's running side by side along with Elon Musk and his Neuralink that he's pushing as an effort to try to enhance human intelligence to compete with artificial intelligence. Both essentially want to create cyborgs, terminators, capable of living longer and having a human consciousness embedded in them. Transhumanism. And let's not forget about our old buddy Bill Gates. He rounds out the list because of a company that he's investing in, Gorko. I mentioned this in an earlier episode. Gorko is a company that is specializing in splicing and printing DNA segments and then creating entities with new functionality. So they've created flowers that produce unique smells. They've created organisms that can enhance the perfume making process. All of this, in my opinion, is a precursor to taking advantage of some of the earlier research I just stated, like the database of DNA segments that's being stored by both Google and Human Longevity, and maybe splicing that together, printing it out, and creating humans that can live forever. Gods. Like I said in a previous episode, they're either going to find Jesus or they're going to make him, create him from scratch, and then use that to help extend their own lives and make themselves into gods. Yeah, I said that. They're trying to make themselves into gods. You know, like the scene from Ghostbusters, when Gozer asked the Ghostbusters, "Are you a god?" Later in that exchange, Winston says, when someone asks you if you're a god, say yes. That scene is funny, but what it really is saying is that those guys had developed technologies that could bring down gods, making them gods. And that's what we see repeated right now, every day, that we're experiencing these billionaires march towards immortality. And I don't think it's the first time it's ever been done. I think we repeat this cycle like the Matrix over and over and over again. And a few number of us achieve that godhood and escape out into the universe and return and restart civilization on this planet. Now think about what all those billionaires have in common. They're all also investing billions into space ventures. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Google founders, Amazon founders, or Jeff Bezos, I mentioned him earlier. All of these guys have space programs, private space programs, preparing for the day when they achieve immortality and create breakaway civilizations. I think we've already done that. Been there, done that. And we're writing the next testament, the next book of the Bible as we speak. The new gods are nearing the point where they break away and leave this planet. The same way it's captured with the Mayans and the gods that came down on the dragons of fire, taught them math, science, engineering, built pyramids, and took off and left again, saying they would return in some distant future. Egyptians said the same thing. You go through every civilization and the story is identical. Gods came down, made it with them. Now, how could they do that if they weren't compatible? Had offspring, taught the offsprings many times in heaven, like Enoch, brought them back, restarted civilization, and then they said, guys, we got a boogie. Got to get out of here. We'll come back and check on you in a little bit. I think we're nearing that point again, where the next group will take off and come back in 1,000 years to check on us, only to realize that we have tore stuff up and need to be rebooted again. Now, what gives me reason to believe that that's happened? There's telltale evidence everywhere. How many of you know about the London hammer? A hammer that was found in London, Texas. Well, a hammer doesn't sound too unique. I got a whole bunch of them. But this hammer is unique because it was found in rock that was dated 400 million years old. The hammer is made of a steel head and a wooden handle. The steel was created with a level of purity better than the steel we make today. And it was enclosed in rock that was dated 400 million years old. It was a large hammer, which meant whoever wielded the hammer had to be a pretty tall, big individual. Not your typical handle, more like a pickaxe handle. And so someone left this in the rock 400 million years ago, and we discovered it in London, Texas. How did it get there? How did it get encased in rock that old? If there wasn't a previous civilization that used that tool. Don't believe me? Go to my Facebook page, Event Horizon, Facebook/Event Horizon. There's the article sitting right there. Read it for yourself. There are human footprints, dozens of them, that have been found in rock over 6 million years old. But here's the kicker. There's a set of footprints that look identical to the sneakers that we wear today, encased in rock that is 6 million years old. First, we believe history started a few 100,000 years ago. We thought technology as it exists today is only a few thousand years old. But here is a stitched sole on a shoe that made a print in a rock that's 6 million years old, and no one has an explanation. The explanation may just be the most obvious one. There were humanoids on the planet using technology that we use today 6 million years ago. And then everything was destroyed. You had an apocalypse. It had to reboot. And those breakaway gods returned only to find a decimated planet. And they did what they've always done. Restarted society. So that's what I think would happen if Bezos, Elon Musk, and these other billionaires who are trying to live forever and also are investing in space technology take off and leave the planet for 1,000 years and come back to find a planet that's decimated. They'll be the next Greek gods. They'll be the next Egyptian gods. And I think it makes sense. When I read the Bible and hear that God has chosen people, I go, really? God's a teenage girl or boy that's playing clique, that has a group of people that he loves more than all the others that he's created? That doesn't sound right to me. Now, what it does sound right is if I'm a billionaire, I go off for 1,000 years, I come back, and I reboot society, and I find people who are left behind that are in some way related to me, I'm going to pay special favor to them. Because that's the human approach to civilization, not the God approach to civilization. At that level, I put them in two different categories. There is a God, and then there are creators. God put matter into existence by speaking it, speaking the energy, the sound, the vibration, the word to create matter. Creators manipulate matter. Still looks like magic. because it is such advanced technology, but they are not God. So when we look at what is presented to us, if 1,000 years from now, the Bezos spaceship shows up and Earth has been decimated, will Bezos have a few chosen people that will follow him and claim to be his chosen people? Possibly. I could see it. I certainly could rationalize that. And it would also put an explanation to all the other ongoing history that you see around the world of gods fighting amongst themselves using technology that is God-like, but we know it to be more human-like today because we've caught up with some of that technology. Some of the ancient Indian texts talks about Vimanas fighting and flying and moving and being in two different places at the same time, using weapons that create mushroom clouds and destroy thousands of trees and animals and burning the skin right off the bone. Atomic weapons. These aren't gods. These are humans who've returned and are fighting over the resources of the planet and how the planet would be rebooted. And in 1,000 years, we just get another crop of them. More of them to fight amongst themselves and create lore that gets added to our religious texts. So if you're vibing with me on this, let's go ahead and create the gods that they're going to have 1,000 years from now. What are they going to be like? Elon Musk. Let's say he's going to be more like Osiris. Part man, part machine. Because he's pushing for this Neuralink. I'm pretty sure they're going to describe Musk as this half-man machine driving around in a very nice red chariot called a Tesla. Now, he'll probably battle it out with the god Hapi, the personification of the Nile flood. That'll probably be Jeff Bezos. Since he named his company Amazon, he probably had some passion for the Nile as well. Peter Thiel will get in on the action as Mercury, the god of financial gain. Sergey Brin will probably be Thought, the patron god of knowledge. All of these guys will return in 1,000 years and be a part of the lore of the communities that survived the apocalypse. And they will be the next testament to the Bibles that will be written at that time. All of what I'm saying is probably the reason why we have so many secret societies. So many of these groups who may know or have a thought as to why we worship the beings we worship, and have an understanding that behind many of the miracles that are seen in the text are technologies that are from far away, breakaway civilizations that have played their own part on this planet. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Raiders of the Lost Ark, all of those show a certain reverence for the Bible, but a perspective that people believe this to be technology created by a God and could be leveraged by man. I truly believe we're getting closer to getting answers to these kinds of things. Because if these secret societies truly exist and work in part with those previous breakaway gods who have come back to watch over us, those watchers, quote unquote, they may be ready to step in again. And I think we're seeing some of that now as a result of what's happening on the planet. And if and when they do reveal themselves, many of the questions we have about what has transpired here in the history that we face, and when I say history that we face, I said that exactly the way I meant it. We're reliving the life that has existed millions of years ago again on this planet. When they see that occurring, I think they step in to pull us back from the edge after some sacrifice has occurred. We will inevitably create the apocalypse, and they will reboot civilization. And like I said, a few of us, will slip through the cracks by achieving immortality and breaking away into the stars. Guys, thanks for listening. Thank you for following me for these first 10 episodes. And I promise you the next 10 are going to be just as squirrely and just as crazy, maybe a little creepy as the first 10. This has been Event Horizon, a walk into the paranormal with a splash of conspiracy.